Let's have a look at how we can rig a character with complex shapes in Cavalry. If you watched my previous video on rigging, I mentioned that the rubber hose system has a few limitations that don't easily allow us to add complex shapes to our rigs, but I actually found a workaround. So let's have a look. Got a few shapes set up here, so a lower leg, upper leg, shoes, and this is something you would typically import from Illustrator or a different app, or maybe just download. And now we want to create an IK rig. So we're still going to use the rubber hose. I'm going to set the end over here and the start over here, and go into my rubber hose limb and increase the length, and then flip this. Now in the previous tutorial, we used the line divisions to create a more traditional IK setup, but this results in issues with the rotation. Now instead, what you can do is you can leave this at 50, go to the rubber hose limb, and then use the curvature to achieve a similar effect. Now this isn't ideal for the line, so if you want to use the line, I recommend sticking to this method. But by using the curvature, we are getting the correct rotations over here. Now another thing we need to do is we need to invert the rotation direction. So when you go to your end rotation, go to rotation, add expression, times -1, and do the same thing for the start rotation. And now when you look closely, you'll see that the rotation nicely follows our limbs. Now we can finish this setup. So let's decrease the length here. I'm going to make this pretty much straight. Then we're going to go to our start rotation and link our upper leg, and go to the end rotation and link our lower leg and our shoe. And now when we move this around, we have something that looks close to what we need, but the rotation point isn't correct. And you can change that by going into your rubber hose limb and changing the joint position. So in this case, the upper leg is a bit longer. And there you go. One thing you might have noticed is that the draw order isn't correct anymore because we moved some stuff around. So I'm going to pick the shirt here and move it up in my hierarchy. And now we have a functioning rig. There is one issue with the shoe. If I want to rotate the shoe, my leg completely follows. So that's something we need to address. One way to fix this would be to add another null, and then add the null to the end rotation and set all the values to 0, so we get the exact same position and rotation. Drag this out again. This will be my foot controller. Now I'm going to drag the shoe in my foot controller, so the shoe is directly linked to the foot controller. And then I'm going to go and pin this for now, click on my end null, and we're going to connect the X position of my foot controller to the X position of the end null, and do the same for the Y value. So now this is receiving the position, but not the rotation. So when we move this around, everything still works fine. And when we rotate this, only the foot is rotating. And that's basically it. You can combine this technique with the other techniques shown in the original rigging video to create really interesting results. Now, one thing that I did notice when animating is that there is a small bug with the rotation. The rotations update during playback, they correctly update. They also correctly update during render, but they don't correctly update when you're scrubbing through the timeline. And you can clearly see that here. The black line here is correct. The rotations are still on the previous frame, so our limbs aren't correctly rotated. Again, this is only an issue when scrubbing through the timeline. So when you're playing back, it's not an issue, but it's still annoying when animating. And I hope this gets resolved in the future.